So let's see. Anything else? Oh yes, if you ever are in a bad spot and your economy is in the red, you are losing gold every turn. This will obviously, first of all, remove it from your treasury. And if your treasury is at zero and you're still spending gold every turn, you're losing gold every turn, it will take it from your science. That is a very bad place to be because losing science every turn means you are losing ground compared to other civs. You are going to be at a disadvantage eventually in your military and in the types of buildings and wonders that you have access to. That's a very bad spot to be in. If you ever find yourself losing gold, make sure that you get back in the black extremely quickly or you'll be in a world of hurt. So that was the economy. I'm going to stop there because that was a lot of info. We still have some stuff to carry on to discuss. So diplomacy, I'm going to pop up here the diplomacy screen. This is going to give you quite a lot of info about other civs. So right now I'm Oda Nobunaga here. This is my score. The score is a quick way to see how well a civilization is doing. So right now I'm on top. I'm at I have the highest score. Score is computed from how many cities you have, the population, how well developed the cities are, how much land is within your borders, and then how much special wonders and tags and all that you have. So if you see right now, Napoleon has a much lower score than I, so he's in a bad place right now. And you can already tell I've moved a lot of troops here. I am kind of thinking about making a move against Napoleon to kind of cripple him for good. Caesar is not doing too bad. He's kind of his empire is he's very spread out. It's kind of a stupid empire, but he's overall still doing well. And Suleiman is doing a little better than Napoleon, but not much better. His empire is kind of in the middle of nowhere here. Doesn't really have access to anything good. He does have that river here, those rivers, which are probably very good. He's got some cotton here. I want that cotton, damn it. But he's not doing all that well compared to Augustus and I. And you also have a list here of city-states and their influence with you, or rather, your influence with them. So right now, I'm neutral with Oslo, I'm neutral with Genoa. I am too influenced with Budapest, which is, let's see, where's Budapest? Budapest down here. I believe I returned a unit to them very early, which gave me some influence, but that's it. Singapore, which is back up here, I am neutral, and then Bucharest obviously is my ally because I took out Edinburgh. Edinburgh is not in this list anymore because I took it over right here. However, if someone were to come along and wrest control of Edinburgh from me, they would have the option of liberating it. And liberating a city-state that was under the control of a civilization will put the city-state back in the game. So it will come back, it will have the borders that it had, it will revert, if you will, to city-state status, it will have its personality and its trait come back, and it will basically put it back in the world game, and it will probably not like me very much since I've taken it over, kind of crushed it. But it will like very much the civilization that it liberated it. And so you can use that to your advantage. If there's another civ that's going around and knocking out city-states, if you liberate those city-states and by taking over the city and then selecting the option to liberate it, you can make a lot of city-state friends or allies for very long. You'll get like over 100 influence points with them for liberating a city-state. Probably more like 150, I think, depending on the difficulty level of the game. And so let's say I want to get into, I'm going to see Bucharest right here. If I just click on their name, it brings me to their screen, so I don't have to look around for them on the map. And same thing if I click again on some other civ's portrait here, I will enter into negotiations with them.
Selamlar.
And so let's have a look at the trade, the diplomatic agreements that you can make. You can declare war, obviously, but I don't want to declare war with Suleiman. I have nothing to gain from that. We can trade things.
Biliyorum.
And trading is a very subtle mechanic in the game because you want to propose a trade that's either fair or that slightly favors you, but then the AI will not agree to any trade agreements that are not in its favor. So for example, let's say I want cotton, I want furs, and I want ivory from you, and I am going to give you 1 gold for it. This is not the kind of trade that Suleiman will accept. So for example, if I click propose,
Hayır.
it's an unacceptable trade because it's not a very fair trade for him. I'm asking him for all his luxury resources and giving him nothing. So it's not very fair of me to do so. And if you propose a lot of unfair trades, eventually they'll get pissed with you. A more favorable trade would be to simply trade one luxury resource for another. Right now I am trading one of my incense to Augustus Caesar to Rome, so if I give away this incense, the one remaining incense that I have, I will not have any more incense. And it also says that this is the only ivory that Suleiman has, so trading this will not influence a whole lot because it will basically be trading one luxury resource for the other. And
Reddediyoruz.
he doesn't want to lose his ivory anyway, and I don't want to lose my one incense, which would just basically offset each other. However, if I have spare incense and he has spare ivory, for example, trading those spare luxury resources with each other is a very good trade. It's usually one that the computer will accept if it's, kind of a neutral or friendly terms with you. And so that's kind of, it's a very good trade to make to boost your, because you're not using that extra luxury resource or anything, so it's a good idea to trade it. You can also trade strategic resources. Obviously, those are very important. I can see right here that Suleiman doesn't have any iron. He's got horses. I've got horses too. So let's say I want to give him some iron. I want to give him 2 irons for 30 turns. And, I just want to see, hey, what will you give me for this? This will kind of force the AI to make a proposition for that iron.
Gelin pazarlığa tutuşalım.
And so he'll give
Hoşunuza gider mi?
me open borders, and he'll give me right now 8 gold. Now I'm not interested in open borders. I honestly don't want to don't need my units to be able to go through his territory, so I don't want that. And I want more gold. So it says right now if I hover over this that he has 106 more gold. So if I ask for 124 gold, 114, sorry, for 2 iron, if I propose this,
Reddediyoruz.
he doesn't like that, so this is probably asking a little too much gold. I'm going to ask for 60. He
Reddediyoruz.
doesn't want. Let's see, let's go for 30.
Tamam.
There we go. So I've given him 2 iron resources for 30 turns. He has given me 30 gold. That's not an awesome deal for me because I do need my iron to make more units, to make more iron-dependent units. But still, this is just a trade. I'll take 30 turns, and then after 30 turns, that iron, I'll have he'll probably come back to me and propose that we extend that trade, and I can just say no. I can just, go home with my iron and not accept anything. But then that'll leave him in kind of a bad position, because if he's made any units that require iron and he doesn't have access to iron anymore, those units are going to be a lot less effective in combat. So he'll have a motivation to make that deal work. So this deal right now, not the best deal, but I might have put myself in a position to get a better deal later, which is what diplomacy is all about.
Dinliyorum.
You can also trade gold, for example. You can trade gold per turn, or you can trade, mass amounts of gold. Open borders, as I said, is a deal that lets you enter the other player's territory freely. You can't attack units, or you can't attack cities, and you cannot stack your own units on top of the other civilization's units, but you can just travel through their territory without declaring war. It's very good if you have another empire that's kind of close to you, another civ, and you're being very friendly with them, and you just want to keep exploring, or you just want to see what they have. Open borders is kind of the type of agreement that's made between 2 civs who want to cooperate. So I really don't need that with him right now. A defensive pact, as the tooltip says, is that if this player's attack, the other will immediately and automatically declare war on the enemies. But note that if either player declares war, the agreement is cancelled. So defensive pact is something that's automatically mutual. And what it means is that, let's say Napoleon decides to attack me because Napoleon's a jackass. Suleiman, if he accepts this defensive pact, will automatically declare war on Napoleon too. So that's a further kind of solidifying of the relationship. It's very good if you have a neighbor that's too strong, and then you have another neighbor that you're kind of friendly with, and you want to create a block against that stronger neighbor. Because it means that if the strong neighbor attacks you or the other civ, he's going to have to deal with the other guy too. So that kind of creates a defensive alliance, basically, is what it is. So it's good if you kind of are on the defensive, but if you attack another civ, that defensive pact is void. It will not. If I attack Napoleon after getting a defensive pact with Suleiman, Suleiman will not attack, will not be forced into declaring war with Napoleon. In fact, it will cancel the defensive pact. You can also make a research agreement with another civ, which is an excellent trade agreement. It costs, right now at this difficulty level, it costs 250 gold from both civs, so both civs put down some cash, and then after 30 turns, both civs get a automatic free technology. So if you are going for a tech advantage and you have kind of a buddy, you have extra gold, that buddy has extra gold, and you make a research agreement, it's going to boost your science very quickly. It does take 30 turns though, and you do have to put the money down up front. So if, for example, your buddy gets eliminated or you declare war with him, the research agreement is going to be cancelled and you'll lose the gold that you put up front. But this is a very good trade to make if you're looking to get, either you want to get a technological edge or you're slightly behind in science and you want to catch up. That will help you very much. You can also trade cities with other people, so you can give away a city and then get gold for it or get some resources for it. This is not a very common trade. It's usually when you are training to declare peace, because declaring peace, suing for peace with another civ is done through the diplomatic screen. If, let's say you've kicked another civ's ass, it's suing for peace, it wants you to back off, it will sometimes offer some of its cities to you as just to placate you, to kind of get you to stop attacking them, to avoid elimination, so to speak. But overall, it's not a very common to trade cities. You can also trade to kind of pay gold or give something to another civ to force it to make peace with another civ or with a city-state. Let's say you're allied with Bucharest and Suleiman decides to attack Bucharest. Well, you can kind of trade with Suleiman and say, hey, hang on, let me give you some of that iron, back off Bucharest, it's one of my allies, please don't deal with them, please don't crush them. And then that might be a trade that will force him to back off. He might even be kind of repentant. I've seen that before where I've kind of traded with peoples to stop attacking city-states, and then they come back to me the next turn and they're like, oh, I didn't realize that Bucharest was your ally. I'm sorry, I hope this doesn't create a divide between us. That's kind of it's a kind of a nifty feature. You can also force them to declare war on someone else. So it's like, I have like 1,000 gold. I say, hey, for 1,000 gold, will you go attack Rome? He'd be like, yeah, for sure. And then he'll declare war on Rome and attack him. So that's kind of a nifty way to play the politics game, to force people into doing some things. And for the moment, I believe that's it for trade. The next option here is demand, which demand is just a one-sided trade. Instead of trading for something, you're like, hey, bitch, give me this. And it usually works if you're in a power position over the civ. So if you're a lot more powerful than Suleiman, you're like, hey, this gold you have looks really good. Let me have some of it. And if you're, threatening his borders, you have a huge army, he doesn't have a very large army, he's kind of going to have to give you that to placate you. But eventually, I mean, when you push a civ too far, they're going to stop. So this is kind of used to extort some gold or something else from another civ. But it's not overall that useful.